strategy here of Hamas, right? Because I think for those of us who are outside watching this, saying, well, what's the point of this? Ultimately, you've captured Israeli citizens, you've perhaps captured Israeli officers or soldiers. You're going to demand that they release Palestinians. You're going to enter into negotiations. But the strategy overall, from a paramilitary perspective, is deterrence. This has been the cornerstone of Israel's security posture in the region, which is outgunned, outmanned. It has nuclear capabilities. It has the most sophisticated technology. And part of the messaging that Israel has always sent out to its neighbors and its adversaries was that we have the ability to carry out attacks at our time and of our choosing with the most sophisticated weaponry, with the most sophisticated technology. That was the deterrent. I mean, if you look at right now what happens in a situation between Hezbollah and Israel. Israel is relying on the notion that if Hezbollah carries out an attack against northern Israel, all of Lebanon would pay that price collectively. And they've made that point very clear. And that is the cornerstone of their security posture, which is it deters Hezbollah from wanting to get involved into a confrontation like this. Same with Iran to some extent, which is if Iran were ever to get involved directly with a confrontation with Israel, the response would be from the U.S.-Israel alliance would be one of tremendous power. What Hamas has tried to do repeatedly is to remind Israel that your deterrence, what you think is your deterrence, does not apply in this particular territory of the Palestinian enclave. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because Gaza has already been decimated.
Right.
The militants...
You cannot overstate that point. Gaza is 2 million people, a little more than 500,000 in Gaza City itself.
Right.
They do not have the ability to fish. They do not have the ability. They do not have control of their skies. They do not have an airport. They do not have an ability to get most medical care. They can't get cancer care because it requires things that the Israelis believe could be used as weapons. They can't get construction equipment. They can't get anything that could possibly become weaponry. It's actually kind of amazing that they've got rockets.
Exactly.
Clearly somebody's getting them rockets. But they do not exist as a normal people with self-determination.
Right. And that's why when people say that by Israel's own accounts, which is I've been covering Gaza since 2005 is when I went there for the first time to cover disengagement. And I've covered 3 wars there, 2008, 2012, 2014. Israel would come out after each war and say it was a successful operation. We deterred Hamas. We destroyed their capabilities. And if you look at the trajectory of Israeli Palestinian rocket attacks in Israel, they have only gotten more sophisticated and deeper into Israel. When these first rockets started coming out, they would
never hit their targets.
Most of them would land inside Gaza. Some would land in open farm fields. They were very crude pipe bombs almost that were just being lobbed over the border. But what you are seeing now is extremely sophisticated. I mean, you're seeing bombs being dropped on tanks from paragliders. You're seeing a coordinated attack by air, land, and sea. You see the ability of those who planned and executed this attack to remain very united in the sense that they weren't able to get infiltrated by Israeli intelligence. Their communication was clearly secure. The Israelis didn't know about this. And ultimately, they are still getting in the military or paramilitary hardware either through Egypt or other means. So it undermines the deterrence, if you will, that Israel has tried to project onto the region. This is ultimately the strategy, if you will, of Hamas, which is you cannot ignore the Palestinians at the expense of thinking you have peace with Morocco or Sudan or the United Arab Emirates.
Or the Abraham Accords or whatever
Egypt,
the case
or Jordan,
and Molly, this is an important point to remember. There's been relative silence from the rest of the Arab world. Saudi has asked for a cessation of hostilities from both sides. Egypt has actually asked Israel to stop. So has Qatar. Qatar and Egypt are the 2 countries that are saying that this provocation has come from Israel. But this becomes complicated, right? Because the rockets came from Hamas this morning, and that was a surprise attack. But as Noor will tell you and others will tell you, the provocation has been there for whether you want to call it 10 months or 2 years or 50 years or 65 years or 75 years.
That's exactly right. And just jumping off what Ayman was saying, too, I think actually thinking about the surprise, thinking about the intelligence failure, one of the most surprising things to me, as I'm sure it was to both of you, is the silence that we had from the Israeli government earlier. So that is the Hamas playbook. That is the kind of absolute kind of goal to kind of upset this Israeli kind of peace of mind. We did not hear from Prime Minister Netanyahu for, I think, almost 3 hours. We didn't hear from the Israeli president for almost, I think, 7 or 8 when he finally, Isaac Herzog, finally came out and called it an unprovoked, heinous attack. And then Prime Minister Netanyahu, of course, talked about reinforcing other frontiers so that others do not, quote, make the mistake of joining this war. The Israeli citizens will not let, I think there will be serious domestic consequences on the Israeli side. They will not let the Israeli government, Prime Minister Netanyahu, forget that not only did they completely fail to know about such a serious attack happening this morning, but then they took so long to respond, as we saw those pictures kind of streaming on social media of Hamas militants in southern Israel. That was one of the most shocking things, actually, to me. The other thing, Eamon, I think, picking up on what you said, is that it also kind of shatters this illusion